What's up, y'all? Cosmic Cage back again with another episode. And today I want to share a conversation about being authentic and how that helps you with your dating life and love in general. As a guy in modern society, it is kind of rewarded now to be toxic and to have a certain image to portray to attract certain type of women. And you have to understand there are pros and cons that come with everything you do, especially when it's not being your authentic self. And I wanted to share this conversation on how going through experiences, learning, and then witnessing a lot of healthy dating experience help you find the right person for you, and how being authentically yourself and doing it the right way will help your dating experience tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
A lot of dating culture is about this is what you need to get the dream woman that you need to get, right? Well, we're speaking from a guy's perspective because this is a male podcast. All right, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And we were just talking the other day about the difference between evolving and changing, right? Evolving is just becoming a better version of yourself. Changing is changing who you are, right? So instead, you want to evolve because there's only one of you in this planet. And the person that you want to love with you and spend the rest of your life with you, you want them to love you for who you are. Mm-hmm. So it's a struggle because in the beginning, culture, society, family, your friends, you like, what would they think if they saw this woman, right? You do beauty first. But after a certain point, you realize that it's more than that takes to stand and maintain a long-term relationship. And you just learn the dynamics as you get a little bit older and you get some heartbreaking experience as a guy. You go through some traumatic experiences and you know, like, hey, I do not want to go through this again. If I portray my authentic self, I think it makes it easier to spot a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
I feel like when you try to portray an image, what ends up happening is they start holding their red flags just as much as you. So if you think you, like we talk about this all the time when people don't see our social medias, right? And they think we are like these IG famous people. That person portrays a certain image toward us because they think we're a certain person. But when they see we're a regular person, a lot of that shit goes away. So that's just my take on it. Now, I would say you don't share everything, especially in the beginning. I agree with you. I just say you don't leave out all of the things you're working on. Right? I think
you don't shape your image to be it.
Yeah.
It should be more humble and holistic,
right?
Rather than a perfectionist aspect.
Exactly. You try to portray Superman, right? Mm-hmm. And you portray that image like, I got all this stuff going for me and I'm good. I feel like that opens you up for leeches more than anything else.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna be like, okay, emotional support, I'm gonna throw that on you. So it's not just financial, and that's a lot of thing that a lot of men have to realize is that there's people there that would just use you for emotional dumping, right? They'll dump their trauma and emotions and expect you to be able to handle it because they think you're so stable, right? When you give advice or the way you talk about business, they're gonna use you for a come up to get this and this. And it just, you can't play that image because it's just like what you end up attracting is just not good for you, short or long term, I think.
What do you think shaped your idea of love? Family, culture, TV, survival, faith, or even a little chaos? And when did you first realize that real love requires authenticity and not performance?
In junior high school, I was dating probably the most popular, if not one of the most popular girls in the school. But if you tell me now we was in a relationship, I'll say we was not. We was not in a relationship. A lot of my early relationships were not relationships. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know how I was supposed to do it. I just remember she asked me out, and I just remember it was like a couple days, and I was just, the thing is, I'm in a relationship, but I was doing the same thing I was doing before. Yeah, right? Yeah. I was just chilling out with my friends, going playing football, basketball, whatever. I did not make time or space for no relationship. I remember her coming up to me one day because we was in the same class, and I remember coming up to me. She's like, "Christian, what's up? You gotta give me a hug. You gotta be like, you gotta do all this stuff." And I had no one to really tell me that this is what I needed to do or how I needed to do it. So a lot of my early relationships was really just pleasing people. That's what it ended up turning into. It wasn't building an organic connection. I was so caught up in making sure that the other person felt good. And to do that, I had to remove a lot of parts of me to do that. And you can see that when you go on social media or when you see movies or TV shows. It's always like this guy that's being super romantic, the rose petals, the extravagant dates and all that stuff. They don't ever show like the real arguments that actually progress you and bring you closer. A lot of the negative experience that bring you closer is never portrayed. It's always about the positive and how good that looks. And anybody knows a real and solid fundamental relationship is built through the hard times and not the good times. Mm-hmm. Everyone could be fine and good when everything's going well. The honeymoon phase, right? Everything's going well. Everybody could be fine. It's those things. And that became a lot of my issues and a lot of my relationships. I knew that when things were good, it was never an issue. But when things were either rocky or unstable, I never knew how to address it. I never knew how to talk about it. I never knew how to approach it. So most of the time I just stayed quiet, or I started acting different, or I started getting distant. And so like, I think a lot of social media, a lot of just trying to learn by the fire, like going through the experience over and over again, shaped a lot of my ideas. No, I think a lot of what happened to me was I was in so many relationships back to back that when I finally got out the relationship and then I had time to really explore and find out more about myself and not dependent on someone else. Because when you're in a relationship, you always have to think about someone else. So when I had that 5-year gap of me not being in a relationship, I discovered so much about myself and the things I like, the things I don't like, my dating experiences, how to handle stuff. You need to go through this experience to like figure out how to handle stuff. Being around people in healthy relationships help you so much.
Yeah.
Because even to this day, it's still a struggle with a lot of things with me. A lot of people just see the exterior. They see me with like, oh, you're able to get women. You always could like get a new one and all this stuff. But am I happy? Yeah. Am I happy with the experiences I'm having? And what helped me a lot is like a lot of my clients, like I said, have been in long-term relationships, 10, 20, 30-year marriages. And when I'm struggling and I can't figure out something, and I was like, can I pick your brain on something? And I just give them my situation. And I would go through different clients. It'd be a man, it'd be a woman, it'd be black, it'd be white, it'd be Spanish, it'd be Indian. I just go through and I just pick their brain. And then most of the time they say the same thing. That's the funny thing. Regardless, they say the same thing. And it kind of clears up my thought process on things. Because sometimes I'd be feeling bad. And then I would ask them, and they were like, no, you shouldn't feel bad about that. And I'm like, okay. So I shouldn't feel bad that I want to do this, or I feel you made me feel bad like this. And like, you just need to have those conversations with people, because sometimes you get in your own head. You have to understand if they love you or what you can do for them. Mm-hmm. It's tough, especially in today's day and age, to know like the difference. And it takes a lot of reflecting after the experience goes wrong for you to realize what was the agenda and what was the thing out there. Because we talked about this in the beginning. You can be emotional support for someone. You can be a financial support for someone. If you're good at dating, you can be the person that they just love to go on dates with. So you just got to really understand if this person's really there because they care for me and who I am, or is it they're there for me because of what I do for them, and just because I make them happy. And when you are going through things and when you are struggling or whenever you challenge them, that is when a lot of that is going to come out. Because when it's all smooth, when it's all going good and they're enjoying the experience, again, they're not there for you. They're there for how you make them feel. So then everything is great. But once you're like, hey, I don't like that you did this. That didn't make me feel good. Or any type of conflict comes up, that's when you see their true person and what they're really there for. So that was a lot of, again, tying into being a people pleaser. If you never ask or you've never challenged, you never get these answers. Right? If you try to avoid these conflicts and you just hope that everything goes well, then how do you know if that person's really there for you? After you go through the lows, is this person going to improve? Do you feel bad? Because when you meet someone, it's not about saying that they're perfect, but they're willing to work for you, right? Like, if I struggle with communication, can I improve it? Am I willing to try to improve it? Versus saying, I'm a good communicator. If you don't get me, that's on you, right? And it's like more of two people really wanting to work for each other and really to work through situations, compatibility versus chemistry, and trying to come to the same goal in mind, because you'll always realize too, another thing, it might be the right person, but they might be in the wrong timeline or phase in their lives. So you could be thinking that I'm a good man, but I haven't gone through enough experience to be good enough for this person, or vice versa, right? There's a lot of stuff I need to experience. So I can sit back and look at myself and be like, these are the things that I need to improve on, and these are things I need to work on. And as I do that, because I don't want to meet my dream woman and be like, shit, I'm not ready for her. When you talk about a lot of people's experience in dating, if you're with someone for a year, there has to be a reason you were with them.
Reason, bro.
Right? You had a lot of good times. So if 11 months was good and 1 month was bad, that was an overall good experience. And I think if you sit there and look at the positives in that relationship, it'll help you with the next relationship, because you can sit there and be like, I like these qualities, I don't like these qualities. So when I meet the next person, once I see these things earlier, I could be like, this is not something I want to engage in because of a pattern I've seen from people.
Or maybe I can have a conversation about, or have
Exactly.
a different conversation that it lasts.
Yes, exactly.
So,
People have to understand, even from a dating perspective, how many people you know have ever gotten married 3 times? It's very rare, maybe 2 at most. And let's say they date 100 people. That means 3% of the people at tops are going to be the people that make it to that end goal. So what we have to understand is, what's the point of the 97%? The point of the 97% is for you to develop a lot of skill sets that make you better. It's for you to understand the things you like and don't like in relationships. A lot of the things that will make you become a healthy relationship is through your experiences. So do not shy away from your experiences. Understand that each thing happens for a reason. Sit there, understand, like, okay, let me assess my dating experiences. Let me assess my patterns. A lot of these things are going to help you develop into the person you want to be and get the person you want to do. So get in the gym, shoot those free throws. I'm not going to quote Drake, but I am going to quote Drake. He wasn't in the gym shooting with me in the gym. I got the Drake attire on, so I might as well, man.
All right, so that was it for today. Hopefully you learned some stuff about your dating life, your experience, and some things that could help you going forward. Other than that, Cosmic Cage out.